It was an early morning in Massachusetts. Mr. Smith was mowing his lawn. Mrs. Ashwood was walking her two dogs, and I was doing my usual, getting dressed, getting some cereal, before sitting down on the couch to enjoy my Saturday morning. My older brother was still asleep when my mom and dad came down and said, "Good morning, John." "Good morning," I replied. I was still tired, but ready to get on with this day because I had fun planned tonight. My phone rang. I answered. "Are we still on for tonight?" my best friend Jason asked. "Yeah, come over around 6-ish," I replied. 5 rolled around, so I went outside to get some fresh air before Jason got over, knowing that he would be playing a lot of Call of Duty and Halo until pretty late hours. It was summertime, so there was no concern about the sky getting fully dark until around 10 p.m., so we were fine. Jason arrived on his penny board, and we went up to my room. We did the usual 14-year-old boy stuff, ordered pizza, watched movies, and played video games. Before we knew it, the time was 2 a.m. The strange thing was that my neighbor was taking his trash out. I said, "Who takes their trash out at 2 in the morning?" He brought 2 big trash bags and out and put them in his trash can. Jason left that morning when I saw the moving trucks at the sold house that was right next door. I knew that a new family had moved into the house recently. I was grabbing the mail from my mailbox when a girl, my age, by the name of Katie, came up to me and introduced herself. She was beautiful. My first words to her were, "Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm John." Kinda corny, I thought to myself, and definitely stereotypical. We talked for a little before she was called by her father to come unload the moving trucks. Later that night, I was walking by the upstairs windows and saw her out back of her house where she was reading and writing in a book with her feet in the water of her pool. I opened the window and said, "Hey stranger, what book is that?" She laughed and said it was something for school. "Oh, that's cool." I was interrupted by a car being locked. I could see a car parked in Mr. Fletcher's driveway, one that wasn't his. I saw a woman, maybe in her late 30s, get out and started walking towards his house. Mr. Fletcher was a man who took out his trash bags the other night at 2 a.m. He greeted the woman and invited her inside. Katie was home alone, still just reading and writing in that same book that she had been looking at a couple minutes before. I was also home alone, but Jason was on his way over. We went up to my room to hang out, and 30 minutes later we heard a shriek of terror. Not just a normal scream, this was a scream of true horror. Katie leaped up out of her backyard and started banging on our back door. I opened it, and we ran upstairs frantically, and I explained the trash can incident that happened the night prior. At the end of the story, I was cut off with the sight of the woman walking back to her car and then drive away. "What was that all about?" I asked Jason. "We need to investigate this guy a little bit." We all agreed. Snuck up to the side of his house, and his car was right outside the garage. Jason ran over to his car to see if anything useful was inside. We hit the jackpot when we found something in his glove box that we would never forget. It was a piece of paper with the title "Wanted" at the top of and Mr. Fletcher's picture. Serial killer on the loose. 25,000 K reward. We ran back to the house when Jason noticed that his phone wasn't in his pocket. My phone rang. "Stay away." The phone line cut. Jason ran over to his house with a camera hidden on his chest so that he could get the phone and get away. The phone was gone, but a ringing came from Mr. Fletcher's garage. Jason wanted his phone back. He entered the garage. A scream then followed out of the camera that Katie and I were viewing. We called the police. They searched his house and garage. Jason wasn't there. Mr. Fletcher came outside in a curious manner, and he spotted us looking out from the window. The police eventually left, but we knew this guy was something scary, something dangerous. After all, we still didn't know where Jason was. Needless to say, neither of us got any sleep that night. The next morning, I walked downstairs to see my mom and Mr. Fletcher talking at my kitchen table over a cup of coffee. I didn't want to involve my mom. She had enough stress as it was. My mom broke it right to me. She was going over to Mr. Fletcher's tonight for a dinner date. I ran out of the house right over to Katie's to exclaim everything that was just happening since I woke up that morning. We decided to stake out this house and see if he was truly dangerous or if this was some mistake. I tried to talk my mom out of going for at least an hour before giving up. I see where she was coming from. She hadn't been out in years since Dad died. I checked for the time on my computer. July 16th, 7:39 p.m. I called my mom to check in. She wasn't answering. We ran over and saw him run into a bookshelf. Once we entered, we started to rapidly take books off the shelf. A single book on the sixth shelf moved the entire bookshelf. We walked into a bright white operating room with blood everywhere. My mom was tied to the chair. From nowhere, Mr. Fletcher leaped from behind the door, grabbed Katie, and made a run for it. I freed my mom and went after him. I saw the light up in my room turn off. He was definitely up there. With no fear, I knew what had to be done. I grabbed a knife and walked upstairs. Katie was lying on the floor of my bedroom, with Mr. Fletcher standing above her. "You shouldn't have gotten involved." That was the last time I heard Mr. Fletcher speak. Mr. Fletcher jumped out of my open window and was gone. I called the police and begged them to send an ambulance as quickly as they could. I picked up Katie and put her in my arms as I ran for the street, thinking that the ambulance could find me faster if I was waiting outside. It was too late. I remember the moment so clearly. As I tried to assist her, one of the nurses kept repeating, "DOA, DOA, no pulse, no pulse." I lay there sobbing in the street, thinking of everything that had just happened. My mother ran out to explain the secret room and the body of a woman with no hair. It hit me. The first lady that was at Mr. Fletcher's house never left, and he must have skinned her hair to make it look like everything was okay. Jason was never found. As the ambulance took Katie away, it would be the last time I ever saw her, except for the funeral. I didn't want to believe what was happening. As I went to my room, I saw her book on my desk, where she had left it, after she ran in my house from being in the pool. I opened the book.
The diary read, July 16th, 2013. I met a kid named John on my first day at my new home. I got unpacked and my room is now complete. This place is a very friendly neighborhood. July 17th, 2013. John was telling me about the strange neighbor. We heard some screaming and other scary noises coming from his house. I don't know what's going on. July 18th, 2013. I'm kind of scared of Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher is strange. He seems to be disturbed, especially after the wanted paper that we found in his car. I've come to take a liking to John, but I don't know if he knows it yet.
When I read July 18th in her journal, my heart sank to the bottom of my chest. The thought that this lunatic was still on the run made me cringe. I didn't really ever want to believe that people would do some evil things to such nice, innocent people. I guess I was wrong. In September 2013, Mike Fletcher was caught in a local department store. I only know of this information because he was buying suspicious supplies. The cops ran a background check on him, only to find his past as a serial killer. He was finally arrested, and I was able to testify against him about everything that had happened in the last 2 months. Everything was finally at peace. New neighbors had taken Mr. Fletcher's house. It was their first day in the neighborhood. I was outside grabbing my sweatshirt that I had left out there the day prior. The neighbor's daughter came up to introduce herself. Her name was Katie.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe and tell your friends. Thanks for watching. See ya.